Hey everyone, my name is Rohan. I'm one of the co-founders of Stock Alpha, an answer engine for equity research. In this video, I'm going to show you how our product works. So as you can see, we help equity research analysts and investors simplify stock research and generate alpha with AI. Let me just dive right in and show you how it works. So if I go to a stock here, say for example, I go to HDFC Bank, which is one of India's largest banks. In our tool, you can see the current price of the stock, a chart showing how the stock has progressed over the past few years, a few links around the latest news on the stock, and more importantly, the ability to ask questions against annual reports, earnings calls, and even investor presentations. So I'm going to tell it to give me like a structured table of the latest financials. So HDFC Bank released its financials quite recently, which was the last quarter of financial year 2024 year in India. So let's see how it does on this query. Typically for something like this, you would have to go through really long documents. So for example, you have the annual report here, the earnings call, and even investor presentation. So specifically for Q4, you would probably have to read a document like this, which is quite descriptive. But if you're just trying to get an answer or a brief summary, it's still a pain. So this is like around 39 pages. If you're looking at an annual report, those are typically much more expansive. So an annual report could be anywhere like 400 pages. So where AI and our tool really helps is sort of compressing all of that information and being able to ask questions against it. So if you can see here, it's given us a nice table of the key metric, but more importantly, it's given sources as well. So it's not just making stuff up; it has legit sources for which from which the tool has extracted information. So you can see for deposits, there's a certain number like 23,000 billion Indian rupees. There's a net interest margin, cost to income ratio, gross NPA, which is always important for banks. So you get a nice overview of the key metrics and the key numbers around a particular stock. Uh, Obviously, numbers are pretty important, but a lot of times analysts are also looking for qualitative aspects around a stock. So I can ask a question like summarize the Q4 FY 2024 earnings calls. Now, earnings calls are very tricky because earnings calls typically happen in a specific time period, and either you have a chance to be live and listen to the call, or maybe listen to the recording of the call later on, and or maybe just read a transcript, right? So, but a lot of times when analysts are sort of parsing through multiple companies, they don't really have the time to do this. So, LLMs are pretty useful for summarizing large documents, and it's pretty useful for doing that for earnings calls as well. So as you can see here, uh, we have a summary. So we know that, say for example, deposits increased by 1.6 trillion, advances grew by 0.39 trillion rupees, net profit increased, stuff like that. And so basically like a lot of facts and figures that you typically would have to read a long document. So if you see the earnings call for HDFC Bank, um, you would typically have to read a document like this, and it sometimes does not capture the essence of it. So just reading like a really long transcript, you don't really know what's going on, and you have a lot of information to sort of parse through. But this makes it really easy because it can summarize and show you, and maybe even just say stuff like what are the concerns which were addressed. So for example, analysts raised questions on the impact of the global financial market volatility and stuff like that. So I think it can get really interesting there. We have the option to save it. So you can easily save all your answers in one space and go back to the library section, which will show you. Yeah, so I've saved the Q4 answer and I can easily access it anytime in my own library section. Similarly, you can do that for like multiple stocks. So we have around 50, the largest 50 stocks on the Indian Stock Exchange on our platform, and we're slowly adding a lot of them. We're excited for equity research analysts to use our tool, and yeah, this was the demo. Thank you.